guys. Hey, we're live at NerdCon. This is James. I'm director of NerdCon.
James and the rest of the crew did a fantastic job recently at NerdCon in Mont, Belvieu, Texas at Eagle Point Recreation Complex. This fantastic event included over 80 booths and tables featuring TV personalities, voice actors, comic artists, authors, fan groups, cosplayers, and all sorts of fun vendors.
Look what we ran into now. It's Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Are you a local here?
I am from Conroe, so north of Houston.
You said you were a professor?
I am, at Lone Star College Sci-Fair, like West Houston.
What do you teach?
I teach interpreting for American Sign Language, so I talk with my hands, but it makes sense.
Do you get around to these NerdCon things and Comic Cons?
I do. Almost every weekend I use Comic Cons as an opportunity for my students to practice their interpreting. It's pretty fun, and I usually buy them a photo op with a celebrity. Are you guys having fun?
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
It's my first time here. I love it.
Oh, is it really?
But I'm a nerd too.
I'm a huge nerd. I like anything sci-fi, fantasy, Disney,
History.
anything. Yes, I love it.
As you saw earlier, actor Keith Coogan from the 1987 hit movie Adventures in Babysitting was signing autographs at NerdCon. By the way, Keith is the grandson of the late great Jackie Coogan, who became Uncle Fester on The Addams Family. That's Keith Coogan. I'm a big fan of your grandpa.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was worked his whole life and was kind of a rascally grandpa. You know, he never would really help me read roles. He just would tell me to show up on time and watch your money and be careful of mothers.
Uncle Fester, my favorite on Addams Family.
Ah, thank you. Shoot him in the back. Morticia.
Of course, Coogan was one of the main attractions at this year's NerdCon, along with fellow TV and film star Mark Price of Family Ties and the movie Trick or Treat.
Well, here we are at NerdCon in Mont Belvieu. We've been talking about this for a long time. Mark Price from Family Ties and Trick or Treat.
Here's Mark Price from Family Ties and Trick or Treat.
And I've got an autographed picture that's going to go on my wall of fame, Mark.
We get Michael J. Fox to sign the other side of it.
Yeah. Can you get that done?
I can.
Okay.
We raised some money for Michael J. Fox Foundation today. We had some t-shirts that we sold 100% for his foundation.
Again, we're talking to Mark Price, Family Ties, and Trick or Treat, just to name a few. Did you leave the acting business?
I came back to it recently and did my first movie in many decades. They say the camera adds 10 pounds. Have you heard that? But it turns out not being in front of the camera for the last 3 decades added 50 pounds. So I accepted this role, and I'm kind of the bad guy. I'm not the monster, but I'm the bad guy or the antagonist. It's called Witchy Ways, and it comes out in 2024.
And you still live in Los Angeles?
Same place since I'm 17. I've never moved.
What took you to Los Angeles? The acting business?
Yeah, that, and my parents got divorced, and I moved in with my dad. He moved out to Cali.
And how did you get into the acting business?
My dad was a comedian, so it was a natural. I like to say I followed in his footsteps. We're both poor decision makers. But he taught me everything and introduced me to everybody and kind of gave me a great pathway.
How long a run did you have with Family Ties and Trick or Treat and the other projects?
Family Ties was about 7 years. Trick or Treat was right at the end of that. I hosted Teen Win Loser Draw on the Disney Channel for about 4 years. And last night I performed in Houston, and I'm performing in Arizona next week, and I go on tour as a comedian. And I'm at like 40 cities this year. That would be like this poster here.
So that's your new job.
That's kind of the thing I've been doing since before Family Ties that I still do now. I love it very much. I was a little kid comedian.
It's Val Merrick, famous artist, Howard the Duck. What you working on?
I am doing a sketch of the Swamp Thing for a client who came by and wanted that was a swamp monster type character for DC Comics. And I'm just finishing that up for him. I'm from Youngstown, Ohio. I managed to get the attention of Marvel Comics when I was 22 years old, still living in Ohio. And a few years later, I moved on to New York City to just further my career and, my contacts in the commercial art world and meet all the really great living illustrators and learn from them and get better at my craft.
King of the Road.
Here
comes this week's Honky Tonk Texas Fabulous Flashback.
Make sure you bring your Kleenex, because we are going to scare the snot out of you.
And maybe a little toilet paper.
And maybe a little toilet paper, too.
Oh, come in. Look deep into my crystal ball. Eye of newt, wing of bat, tongue of frog, tail of rat. From my hands you will find I will cast a spell that will leave you blind.
King of the road.
That was this week's Honky Tonk Texas Fabulous Flashback.
The Texas honky tonk. There's no place like home.
Since 2008, Honky Tonk Texas in Silsbee, Texas has featured a steady stream of the very best in local, regional, and national touring bands. Pack up your posse and boot scoot over to Honky Tonk Texas for great concerts, dancing, drinking, and dining. Of course, Steak Night is every Thursday, and don't forget about the Honky Tonk Grill. Visit them online at facebook.com/honkytonktx and at honkytonktexas.us. Honky Tonk Texas in Silsbee has been entertaining Southeast Texas since 2008. Where have you been?